We created a platform called Nestlé Etcher to enable us to connect with startups and bring them into our corporate world and Nestlé business challenges. I think the way that we are collaborating with the startups is to find the best solutions in the ecosystem that can help us solve our business challenges. The value we are bringing as Nestlé Etcher is to bridge a gap that we believe it exists between a startup being funded by a VC and becoming a sustainable business. So we want to support startups sharing our knowledge and business acumen, and also by becoming a paying customer to these startups, where we pilot with them based on the solutions that they bring to us. We pay for that pilot, and then at the end we try to bring them on board into our value chain. Since the start of this program in March 2021, we have brought 3 startups into our value chain. One has been with us since March. The other 2 are currently piloting with us their solutions to solve our business challenges, and we expect to bring them fully on board as vendors by 2022.
Hello everybody, yay! Hi everyone, my name is Titi and I'll be your MC for today. Today's event is a Nestlé event called A Year Later. Now we are celebrating a collaboration that happened a year ago with Nestlé and 2 companies, and they've helped each other go through this journey. And today is a celebration and a finding out of what has transpired in the year and what Nestlé has in future for other companies that they are planning to work with. Yes, are we excited? Is that your excited face, sir? I like it. It's funny, you always laugh when I'm nervous. It's like, when I really get nervous, you laugh. It's like nerves make you like are funny for you. Nerves are funny for you, eh? They are. Okay. No, you're smiling, I can see that. And you probably have one of those unnecessarily nice smiles. You know those smiles that just brings everybody to joy. Like those smiles where it's like it's unnecessary. If they ask you, sir, when is the funeral? Next week. Those kinds of smiles. You look like you have those kind of smiles. What do you do, sir? What do you do? You're a pharmacist. Oh, cool. My dad was a pharmacist. It's a really cool job. And where do you pharmacy? Where do you pharmacy? In Claremont. Right, cool. And what brings you to this auspicious event? You see, because you are a pharmacist and you are, a big guy in life, I have to use words like auspicious. I have no idea what that means, but because it's you, I'm saying we are at an auspicious event. What do you do for a living, sir? What brings you here? Are you in the health tech business? What is your business? Pitch it. What's the thing? Pitch it in 30 seconds. Let's go. Okay. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Give them a round of applause. Next time you're looking for medicine, you don't have to call your friend. You can just call this. What's your name? So I can't see from here. Siraj. Call Mr. Siraj over there. So, and everybody on Zoom, I hope you guys can hear us better. This is as best as the sound can get. So if you are not getting any sound, we do apologize. It's not us, it's the technology, unfortunately. And I hope you guys are going to have a good show with us. We are going to try and keep it as tight as possible because we know for you guys, you're not at this beautiful venue. It's a little bit of a time constraint. So to get everything started, we're going to call upon Mr. Parties of the party. You know what a Mr. Party is. He's the head of the party. Right? So we're going to call on the managing director and chairman of Nestlé East and Southern Africa and the chief executive officer of Heavy Chef. Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else, please help me start the clap over there, my brother over there who came on, yes, and get it over and everybody. And welcome Bruno Oilik and Fred Rood.
Okay, thank you everybody. Thanks for that rousing introduction. I think we are all very forgiving of technology in this day and age. My name is Fred Rood. I'm the CEO of baby chef, and one of the things that I do, Bruno, is I host events. So believe me, I can tell you that this is a very familiar scenario for me. I must say that I'm actually just really grateful to be here in one of the most beautiful cities in the world, in one of the most beautiful venues that I think I've ever been in. So I can only assure the people who are joining us on Zoom, I wish you were here. You can go and Google Earth rooftop and breathe, and just share in some of the beautiful vista that we have here. Bruno, welcome to Cape Town again. I know you spend a lot of time here. You're based in Johannesburg, but it's really good to have you here on this, as was said, an auspicious event. It's a year later for Nestlé Hatcher.
But that's okay. Yeah, they turned it on. Good. Yeah, look, super happy to be here with everyone. It's a year later, but it's just really the start. I think this event will allow us to talk a little bit more about what is this Hatcher all about, and invite more and more entrepreneurs to join us. And hopefully we'll be celebrating this in the years to come, even bigger and with even more entrepreneurs on board.
Well, let's get straight into it. I mean, let's talk about why Nestlé Hatcher. What is this all about, and why is Nestlé, the biggest food and beverage company in the world, partnering with these baby entrepreneurs and hopefully hatching them into bigger entrepreneurs?
Yeah, well, first of all, obviously every company starts with an entrepreneur. So I see our friend is gone, but Nestlé actually, the entrepreneur was a pharmacist. A German pharmacist that moved to Switzerland, tried out different products, and he found a formula to save his neighbor's son. And that's how Nestlé got started. But more than 150 years later, the world is changing and faster. And so Nestlé needs to change. And I think one of the aspects that clearly is moving very fast is the whole digital journey. And so as Nestlé, we're also in a digital journey. But we also know that nowadays you cannot, as a big company, no matter how big you are, find all the solutions yourself. And it is about being able to partner and collaborate with entrepreneurs. And so that is what this program is doing. And I believe that it's very exciting because we're creating a real win-win-win situation. That's the intention, that the consumers, they get a new consumer experience. The entrepreneurs, they get experience in working with Nestlé, and Nestlé, we gain more branded experiences. So it's really something that is great for everyone.
Well, it's an extraordinary story. I mean, I think that, as you mentioned, entrepreneurship is hardwired in the DNA of Nestlé, right? To its very core and its very origin. And there's something beautiful about fostering innovation from within. But now we're talking about partnering. And I think, there are models around the world. Plug and Play comes to mind, where you see the brokering of entrepreneurs with big corporates. But you're taking it upon yourself, which is actually quite an amazing thing. Can you talk to, what does a good partnership look like with a smaller company?
Yeah, I think we live in a world where size is not the most important. It's really about having the right ideas that can be exciting and find their place. So therefore, the success has to come from a sense of mutual trust, mutual respect, and an openness to try out new things. And then, of course, in Nestlé, our North Star and where we want this to common North Star with the entrepreneurs is to try and find ways to enhance the quality of life of the people. So it doesn't mean changing the world, but whatever we do has to in one way be meaningful and improve the quality of life of the people.
And I think it's such an important message just to convey to the entrepreneurs in the audience that just to repeat what you're saying, it's not about the size of your organization, it's the size of your idea, right? So you can change the world. That's effectively what entrepreneurship is all about. And I mean, with that, and in terms of the endemic problems, many of the emerging regions that yourself have worked within, Bruno, can you share a little bit about the vision? What is the vision for Nestlé Hatcher and Nestlé as a whole, I suppose, with this kind of partnership in mind?
Yeah, Nestlé Hatcher, Nestlé as a whole, and I would go even further. I think the problems that the world is facing nowadays are so big that nobody can solve it alone. And the world is really moving towards creating of ecosystems. And it is really the collaborating together to find the solutions. And that can be in different shapes and forms. And so that is where I see we want to take Hatcher. It's a platform that we're starting. But I would say the more the merrier. If we can have more people that join us, that say we want to be part of this, we want to also move into this space, then we're creating an ecosystem that feeds off each other. Why not add blockchain technologies? Why not find new solutions? So our vision is that Nestlé, obviously having a lot of brands and resources, we can really propose meaty business challenges that then the entrepreneurs can look at and say, hey, by the way, I've got potential solutions. I think we can add this, we can do that. And therefore, Nestlé would be moving from selling branded products to now selling branded experiences. And what that will be like, we'll see. But the opportunities are endless.
I think it's one of the most exciting times, despite the very real hardships that our society is facing at the moment. For entrepreneurs, but for individuals, for the youth, for any entrepreneurs, any age right now, it's as good a time as any to start your vision, your dream, to get cracking, to roll up your sleeves and to get stuck in. Do you have, we've come to the end of our slot. Bruno, I just want to ask you one more question. Do you have a message for the entrepreneurs in the audience and in the room tonight that you'd like to leave them with?
Well, I would say the entrepreneurs are the future. You guys are young, have the dynamism, and Nestlé wants to be with you in your journey, help to contribute in giving you some guidance, some coaching, some opportunities to go and test out your ideas, your passion, what you're dreaming of. For, again, as I said, the betterment of the world. It is what in Nestlé we call creating shared value. So we want to create value not just for the shareholders of Nestlé, but also for society at large, for the communities in which we live, and of course, for the entrepreneurs. So that is really what drives us into this beautiful journey called Hatcher.
That's a beautiful message, a very rousing message. And can we give Bruno a very rousing hand of applause? Thank you, Bruno.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you.
Bruno and Fred, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else. It's funny, I was making fun of Bruno earlier. I don't know, this guy's the head of this thing now. Sometimes you must just make fun of people, right? But this is what they're talking about. They're talking about creating shared value, creating value in things that other people might not see the value in, and making it more. So that's what we are about today, actually. We are about that. And I want to, every time I come on stage, I want to ask somebody who's here, who's an entrepreneur, to tell us just a little bit about their company. You never know who's listening, right? You never know who's listening. Like you, my sir, with the COVID on your table, COVID. Yeah, Corona. You're drinking a Corona, sir. So, what would I like to know? It seems like you are ready for any question right now. All right. What color is your socks? I was just testing you with that one. All right, now you tell me, sir, what are you here representing your own company? Okay. Oh yes, we're gonna get to that. You see, you are already in Harmanes. We are here right now. So what's your name? Lee Simon. Okay, this is Lee Simon, everybody. Yes. Everybody say hi, Lee Simon. Yes. All right. Now you tell us about, a minute, 30 seconds. Tell us about your company that you're representing here today. Stereotype talent management. Yes. To take away stereotypes from talent management, right? All right, cool. All right, stereotype talent management. And your name again, so sorry? Lee. And give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else. All right, cool. So introducing next, we have a very special guest. We have a guy who has a name that sounds like he's from Pretoria, but he's not. His name is João. You guys, João Barreto, right? João Barreto, and he is the head of innovation and PMO at Nestlé. Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else, João Barreto.
Thank you, Titsi. Oh, sound is working. Great. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is João Barreto. So, that's the Portuguese version of the name that Titsi just said. Really welcome, everyone. We're really glad to have you all here to celebrate this 1 year later, right? It's actually 1 year later. Are the slides up? Here we go. It's 1 year later because when we started it, we started developing, obviously, before we launched it, right? And we started with this model that you can see here. And we always said, when we were discussing with Sandiso, that we wanted a model that works for startups. We wanted to make sure that the startups would be happy to work with us, and obviously it works for us, right? So this is the first model that we had with the 7 steps that you can see. And along the time that we started the Etcher, and more or less like 6 months later, we understood that the model was missing something. So on step 4, we actually added something really important for us and for you as well as startups that participate, because we started to screen and match the ideas that were not selected through the process with the businesses that we have in Nestlé. Because sometimes the ideas that come in are not exactly answering what we want in the challenge, but are still great ideas. So because of that, we changed a little bit, and we added this, way out of step 4 for all the startups to make sure that everyone is seen and we can match with the right businesses as well. Then another thing that we started to look at was your journey. And your journey as startups is really important for us because, again, we want you to be taking some return of the investment of time that you're doing. And we know that time is very important for you. So we continue to listen, and we wanted to improve the model even further as we do in everything that we develop. So you can see here the journey that we want to have in 2022, is it? Or 2021? No, 2022, yes. I'm a bit lost on the years. And we introduced 2 new pieces of your journey. So we continue to start on your online application. We wanted to make it even easier. So it's an easy way. You can do it in every platform that you have. We then have a feedback. And this is one of the new things that we have. So from now on, every applicant will get a feedback. That's one thing that we heard that's really important for you. It's part of the return of your investment of time. So we want to give feedback to all the applicants. Okay, so going forward, this is one of the big things that we are introducing. Then we'll continue to have your coaching for the finalists. So everyone that goes through to the top 5 will have specific coaching about it. We'll have a pitch day with our executives. So the executives and the business sponsors will be there. So you'll have the opportunity to meet also executives from our company. Then we go into individual feedback. And I think this is another important point. So the top 5 that go to the executive board will get individual feedback, specifically talking about what happened in the boardroom. Okay, so I'm doing those feedbacks now. So we happen to do it with all the participants in the last 2 cohorts, and we'll continue to do it. And then we have another new thing that we are going to introduce, which is one-to-one mentorship. And one-to-one mentorship with executive level of Nestlé. Bruno is going to be our first and guinea pig for the process, and he's already have planned for next year to sit one-on-one with the winner of the program and give feedback or give mentorship on any subject that the startup owner or CEO wants to have. So this is another thing that we are introducing next year. And obviously, at the end, we'll continue to look at the final debrief. If your idea is successful and your pilot is successful, we'll bring you into the value chain from different ways, either as a vendor, either as we get equity from your company, or we help you scale up your solution to help us also into our business challenges. So next year, we'll continue to have more challenges coming up. We had 2 this year. We don't know yet how many we're going to have next year, but we already have some working in the works. So we expect to have more than 2. And we're looking forward for your submissions and to see you there. So thank you very much.
We launched the Nestlé Etcher because we believe in the potential of our innovation ecosystem to solve some of our business challenges. At the same time, we understand we can play an important role in supporting the development of the startups to become sustainable businesses and have less dependency of venture capital. We want to have more startups in our value chain, bring new technology and innovative minds to future-proof our business. To improve the collaboration between Nestlé and startups, we need to continue to work together and learn about each other. Startups need to learn more about corporate complexities, the existing challenges, and ways of working. Nestlé needs to understand the startup setup, adapt to accommodate their existing challenges, and accept failure as part of the learning process.
I have always been curious about crowdsourcing and wondered how an external idea could come to life to reach an internal goal. Working with RAM Ratings from the onset has taught me how to collaborate in a new space with a partner. I also now have a deeper understanding of how websites are developed and how to engage with the community who shares a common passion. I definitely think that startups need to immerse themselves into the business and truly understand the business needs and products in order to reach the common goal. This would make it easier to navigate through our very diverse portfolios. We could do a confidential induction for the startup and take them through the business so that they have a better sense of what we're looking to achieve from the opportunity that they're presenting to us. Things also moved quite slowly from awarding of pitch to execution of pilot, and I think that we could have moved faster here. I think that the most surprising moment for me was seeing the platform come to life. When you're working on a project for so long, you tend to spend many hours working on the smaller elements. So when you eventually see everything come together, it's incredible. To have 3 different parties come together to achieve a common goal is also quite special.
It was actually a really simple choice, as RAM Ratings answered all aspects of our brief, which centered around a service model for coffee that would attract the youth, allow them to explore coffee, rate and purchase coffee, all while building loyalty. In addition, what was really great was the viability of the model was already proven via the RAM category, building our confidence in the success of this endeavor. Firstly, to have an appreciation that while we want to and will move fast and take risks, we also have a responsibility to do the necessary validations and approvals to ensure we protect the business and don't open it up to undue risk. In saying that, I would also encourage startups to challenge us, challenge our thinking, as often we might be stuck in our corporate bubbles and may require a gentle push now and then, as we're always open-minded and welcome challenges to our thinking. Be braver, be more willing to take calculated risks, reduce red tape, and make processes more adaptable to startup ways of working. Most importantly, it has reinforced my belief that putting the consumer need first is the ultimate objective. As through working with RAM Ratings, I was humbled by their relentless pursuit of consumer experience above all else.
The Nestlé Hatcher is an important part of our business as it allows us to collaborate and leverage on the agility and expertise of startups to solve some of our business challenges. We could see it in the 2 briefs we put into the system, the ability to move fast from launching a challenge to having a pilot live only in 7 months. The most surprising and exciting thing for me has been the response from our innovation ecosystem all across Africa. We have received 280 applications from 11 of the 23 countries that we look after, and that's fantastic. It shows how keen the ecosystem is to partner with us and collaborate to create solutions. More than that, 40% of the applicants were under the age of 30. Superb. We're looking forward to an exciting partnership as we go into 2022.
Working with Hatcher has been a fun, exciting roller coaster experience. Lots of challenges along the way, lots of learning for us as Kui Studios, and also lots of learning for Nestlé as well. You know, there's many challenges in the pilot, you know, getting to know the clients, understanding the requirements, you know, scoping it down so that it's in a biteable manner and that we can actually meet the objectives, you know, putting together KPIs and trying to put them that we can actually meet them as well and just organize ourselves accordingly. It's been quite a good challenge, so we've obviously been able to come up with solutions to solve these challenges, and it's really been great to have a supporting clients like a Nestlé who's really wanting to work with startups, understand that value, and you know, grow their business as well, working with the startups.
Hi, my name is Tawani Mutonga and I'm the CEO of a company called Fourth Line based in Lusaka, Zambia. We're the winners of Nestlé's second Hatcher Mobile Commerce Challenge 2021. The challenge we're helping Nestlé with is customer engagement for millions of its customers. And to do this, Fourth Line has created a platform which is an integrated mobile commerce and payment platform which is based on the blockchain system. As Fourth Line, we hope we're going to enhance social, economic progress, and with the increase of users on our platform, we also hope that Nestlé's market is going to expand and its brand to also be promoted not only in Zambia where we're starting the pilot from, but across other African countries in future. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we are going into a panel discussion which will be moderated by Sheila Yabo, who's a country director at the University of Impact. Right? So we are in our panelists. The panel is about solving startup business issues. Right? And joining us in the panel on Zoom is Angel Torres. Everybody say hello, Angel Torres. Everybody say hello. Oh, he's there. Oh, yes, he sees us. Okay, cool. Hello, Angel. And then we have Nivasha Patha, who's a category marketing manager of coffee at Nestlé, East and Southern Africa. And then we have Sandiso CBC, who's the studio director of Kui Studios. Ladies and gentlemen, over to you, Sheila.
Thank you so much. Oh, it's working. I don't need to go like, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Thank you, Titi. My name is Sheila. Once again, I'm country director for Invest Impact. We are a non-profit that invests in startups, social organizations, not only startups. I'm so used to working with startups that are solving, the world's biggest problems, especially societal problems. And I'm glad to be here. I think I was sitting there and I'm so encouraged by the work that you've done. So well done to Nestlé and Kui Studios. So this is a conversation that is really close to my heart because I believe that in order for this ecosystem to thrive, we really need all the parts or stakeholders in the ecosystem playing their part, and kudos to Nestlé. So we have, I was going to say Angel, so thank you, Titi, and I'm going to ask all of you to introduce yourselves just a bit, because I'm not going to read all your amazing bios. I went through them, but I want you to introduce yourself. So we'll start with Angel. I hope we do have sound, just a bit of who you are and what RAM Ratings does.
Sure. Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. So so RAM Ratings actually started as the largest rum community in the world. We're about 1 million users around the world, 230 countries. And we basically developed a technology platform that we converted into community as a service platform. But unlike other social platforms focusing on family and friends, our users were being brought together by products and passions. And that's what we provided with Nestle. Like, we were able to put fans and brands together. And so just happy to be here.
Thank you. And Nivasha, I'm sure you're one of the reasons why I can't stop coffee. I've been trying to stop coffee. At least now I take decaf. Just a bit about yourself and what you do for Nestle.
Sure. Hi, everyone. So I'm Nivasha Patta. I'm the Category Marketing Manager for Nestle Eastern and Southern African region. In addition to really loving brand building, I also am a lover of a great cup of coffee, as you can imagine, like you. I'm really passionate about consumers and how their habits are changing and how the ecosystems are also evolving, as is ours. So really excited to be here today and get into this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. And Sandiso.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sandiso. I'm a director at Kui Studios. What can I tell you about myself? I have a tech degree. I can code a bit. And then I have a great team of young people helping me at Kui Studios.
Amazing. You can teach me to code. Yeah. So we as we all know, it's been a year later, and this conversation is just to unpack what the year has been like, some of the learnings that we can learn from, and I guess Nestle that can learn from, and the bigger ecosystem, what we can learn from this partnership. So we'll start with Angel. Can you tell us a bit about what the journey has been like from the day that you submitted your application to now? Just the as raw as it can be, because we want to learn from this.
Yeah, so pleasure, happy to do so. So I was really nervous. So we're a startup, and Nestle is huge and very, famous. And so when we applied, we were like, I hope they even give us a meeting, because just to have the learning experience would be an amazing, achievement for us at such a small scale for where we were at that moment. And when we applied, we were surprised because we don't necessarily interact with companies that big on a day-to-day basis. So we were surprised that everyone was very welcoming, very warm, as excited as we were. And so, that made the experience just so pleasurable. And then ultimately, we were lucky enough and blessed enough to actually win it. And from there, taking your ideas and the vision to actually execute on was amazing, because there was a true partnership. Like, there was feedback, there was back and forth, there was conversations, where sometimes as a startup, when you're, a team of 3 people, you don't get an outside view. And getting that outside view, I think, helped accelerate what will be ultimately our current success, and ultimately what our bigger success will be in the future.
Amazing. I like the vibe. You can feel that there's trust. I think it was Bruno who was talking about, for a partnership like this to work, there has to be trust. Now, I've worked with a lot of startups. I'm like, hey, and now I call myself a dot connector. So I'm like, I know Fred, you're doing this. Can I connect you to Fred? And they're like, no, he's going to steal my idea. So I mean, and it's a real thing. We've read a lot of articles on this really happening. So I'm really I'm really grateful on behalf of the startups in the ecosystem that this has been a fruitful partnership. And then, Nivasha, we know when we are planning these programs, we all have a vision of what they are going to look like. What has the experience been?
Yeah, I think. Can you guys hear me now? Okay, perfect. I think what a remarkable experience getting to work with Ankel and the Rum Ratings team, as well as Kui Studios. I think the most remarkable thing for me was we were so quickly able to remove boulders and boundaries that we previously thought were immovable, just through getting this additional viewpoint and new perspective into our business. And that was really impressive. And Ankel says he was nervous, but actually we were so impressed off the bat, because the relentless pursuit of consumer centricity that he brought day one into that pitch was remarkable. And that was something we already felt, okay, we have this in common. We feel the same way about putting the consumer first. So we already have that commonality that helped us achieve the goal. And lastly, we really had to get okay with that uncomfortableness around not having all the answers up front, being okay to pilot, being okay to iterate, being okay to test and learn and make changes, and knowing that not all elements of it will work, but we will learn and we will scale. And I think the best learning I got out of this is often the differences between large corporations like Nestlé and startups are always spoken about. But what I found was we actually have so many similarities, and that need to bring about a superior, game-changing consumer experience was something that really brought us together and really helped with the teamwork.
Amazing. If there's one thing that surprised you with this partnership, what has it been? Like something that you saw this working out in a specific way. What were the moments where you were like, okay, I was not expecting this?
Yeah, I think there were probably two things. The first being that there was already a startup existing out in the world that could answer all elements of the brief we put out, which was a very complex brief. And secondly, that the startup was able, through the help of Kui Studios, to so quickly adapt to the Nestlé ways of working and how we do things and the things that are really important to us pretty seamlessly. So all those things that you think in your mind are really red tape and sort of show-stopping were things we were able to work around and quite quickly, in fact.
Amazing. And back to you, Angel, what was the biggest challenge and learnings from you as a founder?
So yeah, I mean, I would echo that. We were surprised, right? So I think it was Mike Tyson that says everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face, right? And so it was like that. It was like, hey, not everything went perfectly to plan from a technology perspective, and we had to quickly adapt. And so I think it was super, super priceless to have Kui Studios, like, helping us message that correctly, put it in a communication that was understood to, relate how that affects the timeline, what we could do to accelerate other parts of the timeline so that ultimately the timeline stays intact. So that was a learning for us, because before we would just work and as a startup, you come up with challenges, you figure it out, you move on. But being able to work in such a way where we were meeting our commitments that we had agreed upon and delivering the value that we had promised was key for us. It was something new that we were able to deliver on.
Awesome. I wish we had a lot of time, but Sandy, so you were part of the team actually that made this a reality. How has it been for you? What has been the experience?
So it's been this is my in a summary what I feel. Some days I'm like, that doesn't look. And lots of times Angel speaks so kindly of me, but lots of times I'm like, Angel, don't do that. And I'm like, send the email. So it's just a lot of coaching, but really Angel's been really great to work with. In fact, even Fourth Line as well. I think startup founders are actually ready to do what you ask and be helped, actually. They must just be given the opportunity. I mean, the other day I was speaking to Fourth Line and they were saying that, they're just so amazed by the resources Nestlé has. They've got like a PR person, they've got a legal person, they've got like a project manager person. There's like distinct roles. And in our world, because I'm like currently HR, finance, I'm tech today, I'm also like, events coordinator. So I'm doing all things at the same time. So for startups, and I mean, for me as well, and Jao is always telling us, like, don't think of Kui Studio resources, think about Nestlé resources. What can Nestlé do to help? And, just the support that they've just, afforded us, Kui Studios, the startups, they're really going above and beyond what the call of duty. So that's probably been the interesting thing for me. I think it's just having the great support from Nestlé and also just the startup, just the willingness and the openness to just be showed how and coached and listening and doing.
Yeah, amazing. I think from my experience, I can just reiterating that I think you guys got something right, because I've seen other programs. I mean, they're working, some fall apart because the foundation is not right. It's not of trust. So I like what you are saying, that startups actually are okay doing things when you are transparent and you're asking them what to do. My last question for you: what would you change about Nestlé's Hatcher?
I wish we could do more. But I know that everything has a limitation. I think, Zhao and Nev would say, even the finalists that we had, we wanted to try at least 2 or 3, but just because of the limitation of resources, we could only do 1. So, and I don't know if Zhao mentioned this earlier, but the wonderful thing about the program is that, just because you didn't make it as the final pilot, Zhao is there in the background, introducing you to other business units and having you have your pitch there. And maybe it doesn't happen in the immediate, like right now, but the fact that you're able to speak to other business units and potentially one day maybe do a pilot. One of the things that he did say was that now there'll be, I don't know if he said it, but maybe he didn't. But there's a portion now whereby you can just do a pilot with Nestlé Hatcher as opposed to going through the whole Nestlé Hatcher selection. So they're trying to find different ways to, I guess, spread the I don't know, the engagement or the luck. Yeah. And so they're trying, bending backwards and trying to find different ways to do this. I mean, constantly, Zhao is always like, how can we make this better? How can we make this better? Bruno's, not many CEOs I know would volunteer of their time because, the commodities time to actually speak to a startup. Because, the problems he has and the problems that, like the little startup that we are, and the fact that they're affording their time to help startups, I think their hearts is in the right place. So I'm forever grateful. So I think the changes that I would want to see are happening. So there's going to be a smaller portion, like a pilot piece. So that is also an opportunity for startups. There's going to be now feedback going forward. So those are the things I would like to see going forward.
Amazing. Thanks. We unfortunately have run out of time. I would have loved to engage more with you all. Thank you, Nivasha. Thank you, Encho and Sandy. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies. Please just stay on the stage. But finally, we're going to talk to the last person now and find out what another person does in the audience. Hopefully, it's somebody I've never met. You, lady, no. I've never met you before, so I'm going to come closer to you. I'll put on my mask and you just tell us what you do.
Okay. Thanks very much. I'm Nicole. I work for Founders Factory Africa. We are a Pan-African venture investor and developer. We are very fortunate to work with fintechs, agri-techs, and health techs across the continent. One of our portfolio companies, Triplo, is here. We have a portfolio now of 39 incredible startups across the continent. And every day I'm blown away by the relentless optimism, the want to change the world, and the ability to solve the endless problems that arise when you're trying to start and build a new company. So very happy to be here and wonderful to hear about the work that Nestlé is doing to support the ecosystem.
She wants to change the world, but before you change the world, just change COVID and then everything else. Everything else is fine. But yes, we are heading into our final Q&A, and this Q&A will be headed or moderated by brand manager at Nestlé East and Southern Africa, Kelisha Govender. Over to you, Kelisha.
We don't really have any questions from the guys who are online. So anyone here, any questions? Happy to bring the mic to you. Yeah, sure.
Anybody who does have a question, just raise your hand and I'll come give you the mic.
Thanks. Hi, my name is Amol. Quick question. I'm intrigued to find out where in the value chain are you guys looking to incorporate startups throughout your entire business?
I can answer that.
So it really depends on the challenge. So we are looking at different opportunities that we can have in our different businesses. So there's different challenges that we can look at. And so the solutions can come in any part of the value chain, upstream, downstream, everywhere. Now, one point that is quite relevant, and I think Bruno mentioned it, is we are focusing a lot in beyond our product, so beyond our current offering. So we want to bring new solutions to our consumers, and that's mainly the areas that we are focusing on. But again, the businesses can come with any challenge. So it answers.
All right. Anybody else with a question? Oh, there we go. Hi there. Thanks for the event. My name is Michael Crickard, and we work for a biotech VC here in Cape Town. Part of what we do, the area we are investing in, is in the future food space. So my question to all of you is, how do you interact and how do you engage with VCs in the future food space?
Thank you, Mike. And like I mentioned, this is the start, just 1 year. But the vision we have is that it grows into a bigger ecosystem where we will have more partners like we that can help to make the link with the world of the entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs, they have a great idea. They need someone like Nestlé that actually needs their idea, and they also need capital to grow and scale. So there is room for many partners to come together and work on this ecosystem. Exactly how it will grow and what shape it will take, that we'll just see. We'll take it day by day. And Kui Studio is living and breathing entrepreneurship. So they're a huge help in terms of making all the connections, helping us see what's the best way of growing this ecosystem. It's new for everyone, but that's fine. That's what we're here for. Having this Hatcher program, get ideas from you guys, listening, engaging, and then we'll figure it out. I was very fortunate today to have Fred with us, that again has been working in this space for a long time, and we already said that we would continue this conversation later. So we'll figure it out. But suggestions are also welcome.
Thank you.
I'm curious, a lot of corporates tend to, when they engage with startups, elect to work with later stage businesses. From what I can tell, you've chosen to operate at a very early stage kind of startup. So what motivated the decision to operate there? And Bruno, I'd be very keen to hear how you managed to get your board and executive team aligned to that, because I know it can be quite political.
Yeah, we're trying not to make it political at all. Several factors played in doing this, and quite frankly, one of the things is just also pure and simple that the youngsters, millennials or even the generations after that, they also long to have work together with entrepreneurs and not the boring old-fashioned factory job, 9 to 5. And so I need to make sure that Nestlé continues to attract the best talents, and therefore I have to also offer to my staff the possibility for them to do what they aspire to do. And so moving into the future, this interaction with entrepreneurs is something that they want. So that was also one big factor why we said, okay, let's open it up and let's give them this opportunity. And on top of that, like I said, we have to change. So the days where we can find all the solutions ourselves and have all the ideas ourselves are long gone. And therefore, again, it is important that we reach out to this world of entrepreneurs, to this energy, this passion, these ideas, And then it's potentially magic, you know, the spark and the idea of an entrepreneur, and then the resources and the guidance of Nestlé. And I don't mean it in a negative way, but then, you know, working together, we can really do some cool stuff. And the way Hatcher is set up is that we have a very concrete brief, but then together with the entrepreneurs, we set up a pilot and we test it out on a relatively small scale. That allows us to then fine-tune, adapt, until we together feel that we've nailed it. And then, of course, we have the resources and everything we need to really scale it. So nail it and scale it, that's the name of the game. And you don't need to be big to start. You need to have the right idea that works for both of us.
All right. Can I just ask that whoever is going to ask the next question, if you have another question after that, can you tell me so that I don't run every time somebody has a question? So it's exercise. Yeah, no. You see, this is how I stay this skinny, Joao. All right, cool. So any more questions? You look like you have one, yeah.
Hi, I'm Nick Hill and I represent Huawei. A question to you guys, and it's how has COVID affected your business, Nestlé?
I guess that's the answer.
What's the biggest change you've seen? And I suppose from the consumer, from a change from a consumer behavior.
Yes. So look, from a consumer behavior point of view, obviously the world was already difficult for many consumers and has become even more difficult. So they're prioritizing their choices, but everybody needs to eat and drink. So from that perspective, our industry is placed well, and indeed we've not just done well, but we've been able to grow very nicely. And I guess it's also because in times of crisis, the consumers want to make sure that they invest their money in products that they know they're not going to be regretting. So again, they tend to go for the brands that have been around, that they know that they can trust, that those brands are not going to be giving them poor quality. So all of these factors have played a big role for Nestlé to continue to be able to grow. But of course, in times of COVID, to still have all our thousands of factory workers come every day and continue to operate, and the same in our DCs and our work with the farmers, we had to completely redesign how we do that. And we have done so. A lot of work has gone into it, and we have to make sure we keep our people safe, of course. So a lot of additional costs, but I'm very happy that all throughout the pandemic until now, we've not had to close not even one day. So the whole team have been able to be very agile, activate a lot of business continuity plans, and continue the operations to be able to service our consumers. So yeah, I would say good for top line, a bit less good on the bottom line, but we've learned a lot, and we're very proud that we've been able to continue to service our consumers.
I think one thing that is also important on COVID is these challenges also bring a lot of brainstorming on solutions, right? And I think during this past 1 year, 9 months, something that we've been in COVID, there's been a lot of discussions on how to find better solutions to reach the consumer as well. And those discussions are the ones that then bring briefs to the Etcher that we've been talking a lot throughout this last couple of years. So that's another way COVID impacted.
Cool. Guys, I have some online questions. So the first one is, does Nestlé have opportunities for working with waste management and recycling startup companies outside the Southern African?
Yes, so we are a region that is the East and Southern Africa. And in fact, when we've launched our pitches, we had over 300 entrepreneurs that replied from 11 different countries. So not only from South Africa, but yes, from Southern Africa, from East Africa, and so we do reach out to them, and we do work with entrepreneurs in the space of sustainability as well. We have a lot of programs on creating a circular economy, and different entrepreneurs that are working with us. One of them is called Kudoti, which, if I don't pronounce it wrong, but it means waste in Zulu. And so what Kudoti has done is they have a software that is able to look at the needs of a community and the waste of companies, and then create that link. And that therefore the waste gets immediately used in processes to be transformed for the use of a community. So that's just one example, but I love that particular example. We're working with waste collectors. Nivasha has a project where the spent coffee grounds are being used to grow mushrooms, which again we can we can train up previously unemployed ladies to now be able to do this. They can sell part of the harvest for their income. We can share some of those mushrooms with the communities because it's highly nutritious, and we can use some of those mushrooms for future products in Nestlé. So yeah, a lot of excitement in the space of sustainability and circular economy. So yeah, plenty of opportunities everywhere. It's an exciting time for entrepreneurs.
Great, thanks Bruno. The next comment slash question is, sounds exciting. Where do you see an opportunity for startups in the channel tech space? How do you calculate your shareholding? What stage do you start investing at?
Fred, please take the last part.
That's a very complex question.
Yes.
Yeah. So where do we start investing? When do we start to invest? So we start to invest, I think, from the start, right? So the investment that we have is making sure that we give the opportunity. Then when do we start investing in the startup? We start investing on the pilot stage. So we define the pilot with the startup and we pay them for the pilot that we are doing. So there's this direct investment there. Now, there's a tricky part there because we're not giving away money. And I think that's an important piece of the etcher. We are paying customers. We are requesting a specific pilot for a specific service. And that is what the startup is giving us. So we pay for that. So you charge us exactly the amount that you need to deliver that service. From then on, then we can still discuss, okay, can we continue to be our relationship and we can bring you in as vendors? That's if yes, then we continue to pay you as a service provider. So our investment is directly linked to the challenge itself.
Yeah, and I think when you talk investment, what was really important for us in the Nescafe specific case study as well is once we agree that the solution answers the brief, to be very clear on the KPIs or the key things that will be measured for the pilot, because for investment beyond that pilot, when the pilot ends, all parties have to be clear that this has worked or it hasn't and why it hasn't. So I think Sandiso also really held us very much accountable that we are all clear on what we want out. So come the end, it's very easily measurable and next steps and further investment is then a simpler decision.
Awesome, thank you guys. I think we may be out of time.
I just have one question, right? I have a question because, and the reason I ask is because I do a lot of the tech events, right? And I always ask how far along, and I know maybe someone might have a question, might have the similar question. How far along does a product need to be into its production for you guys to even consider it? Is it like you considering like ideas, or are you considering or somebody has to have some kind of a prototype for you to guys to consider them for this incubation, basically? Yeah.
So we analyze all the finalists. It's difficult to go only with an idea. So we tend to go away from only the idea, but if we have a small prototype to play with and to start with, we can decide to go with that prototype. So I won't tell you that it needs to be fully developed or it needs to be in market. No, we can take it before that. And I think Nicole was raising that point on, we are taking a bit more risk in some of the projects. We just don't go only with the idea itself without nothing else, because that is just very conceptual.
Yeah. I mean, just to give an example with the recently chosen startup. So when Nestlé chose them, I was like, wow, guys, that's very brave. And they were just like, no, it's the best solution on the table, and we want to give it a try. We know, Sandy, so it's a lot of work ahead, but they were the ones saying it's a lot of work, but we're going to do it anyway, which is quite impressive, because I was a bit like, so and just to maybe to speak about how far along it is, this company, Fourth Line, they actually have an existing solution, and what they're using part of the Nestlé funding for is to build on top of their tech stack already. So they're building, I think, the blockchain components, they're building a mobile application. So it was always on their business trajectory or their journey. They just never had the means and the capital to do it. So the Nestlé coming under them and saying, we'll co-invest and help you build this pilot is helping them now reach their journey, their objective much sooner rather than later. So yeah.
I have a business idea. Nestlé
You can always apply. CC, you can always apply.
Yeah. Nestlé Fitness, you know. But anyway, what's this? Does anybody else have a question? It's awkward stares and eyes, but okay, cool. Anyway, everybody on Zoom, does anybody else have a question? This is your time to type it in, and we can read it out, and you can get answers from the people themselves.
One thing I would say is, so one thing I would say is, I think someone from the audience asked like what the investment is. I think one of the things that we consider an investment is having like the time from these senior resources in the industry. So we were able to talk with Zhao, which is like a very senior resource in innovation, Kalisha, which is a very senior resource in marketing. You know, a lot of I think they gave us not only a mentor from another team. So like for us, that was priceless as well, because we don't necessarily have access to that level of senior resources in their fields. And so that again enhances us and accelerates our success, like beyond just this pilot.
Oh, hey, me again. So back onto the topic of scale, like a large enterprise like yourselves, you guys operate in multiple geographies across Africa. So what type of support would you provide startups that are successful in whatever cohorts that they participate in to actively like fulfill whatever endeavors you guys want to execute across Africa?
Your question, Zhao. Yeah.
So, as you said, we're a very big corporate. We're in different regions, different countries, right? Obviously, one of the things that we are looking for are big ideas that can be scalable across our region potentially. So that's an opportunity that can exist if you work with us here in the Eastern Southern Africa region. And if it's something that can be scalable across, we obviously look at that opportunity in the future.
Yeah, and it's obviously going to be case by case. Certain entrepreneurs and their solution applies only for one geography. Others is a specific channel. So depending on what we're working on, then we see how we can best support to scale it. And I mean, once you're in the vendors of Nestlé anywhere in the world, you can be used by all the Nestlés all over the world. So, you know, let's dream big. And if you're sitting on something that's wonderful and we've scaled it in ISAR, maybe that is then only the start. And maybe then you can go to the rest of Africa, and maybe why not outside of Africa. But again, it's going to be case by case. very pragmatic, but Nestlé is really here to work together with the entrepreneurs, and if the entrepreneur wins, we win together. That's what we're after, this win-win-win opportunities. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Bruno. Thank you to the panel. And thanks to the team online as well as everyone here for your interaction. And yeah, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Kalisha. And so, everybody, we've come to the end of our beautiful event. Thank you for coming. But please do not leave. Don't just leave. Please mingle around, talk to people. This is actually how these things work. And have yourself a drink, have yourself some food, and travel safe, and God bless. Shapa.